Drop.
Is this the fucking mic? This is exactly what I should be doing.
What's up, and welcome to this week's episode of The Drop, your weekly source for all things NFT and crypto art, as well as upcoming drops by notable people in the Mograph industry. I'm Matt Milstead. Joining me, as always, is Dave Koss. And joining us this week, super NFT extraordinaire, Mr. Ryan Talbot.
Hello.
Yeah, let's get into let's get the stuff out of the way.
Yeah,
let's get the drops out of the way,
yeah.
so we can talk to Ryan about everything.
Yeah.
There's quite a few community drops as well, and I didn't look back on Nifty Gateway. Odds are they probably updated it like the second we started the show or something.
Right.
But like, yeah, what's been annoying is that no, they didn't. They still didn't. Okay. Whoever's at Nifty Gateway, I'm giving you this free advice right now, all right? Because the hardest thing as a collector of seeing the upcoming drops and stuff, I need to know at least a week in advance, you know?
You got to plan.
I think, yeah, exactly.
Gotta
People
move
need
money
to be able
around.
to plan to buy these collections and whatever.
I want to
be able
in
to
your
see
wallet.
everything a week in advance, and their drop schedule right now literally has just the past week. And today is the last day. It's like, no. What you need to be doing is the very first person on that drop schedule needs to be the one that's dropping today, and then you've got the rest of them for the week.
You
Right.
always
And then
have
the
7
next
days.
day,
Yes.
the next one, and it just keeps on moving. So you've always got 7 days ahead, you
Right.
know? Which
Yeah.
is just it's frustrating. Like,
I feel like it also kind of rugs the person who gets like the first day of the week, because like that happened with like the curated drop that I was a part of. Like we were the
Right.
first drop of the week, so
Right.
the entire week nobody saw our drop date on the banner. Like it
Absolutely.
like wasn't announced until like the night before, I think.
It's
So,
frustrating. It's
yeah.
frustrating. And for me, when I'm trying to put together this drop schedule and stuff, it's like, oh, you didn't update it? Not my fault. All right. So only one person is going to be advertised on your... This is free advertisement for you. Just be...
Right.
Come on, marketing people over at Nifty Gateway.
Right.
You fixed kind of your search feature. Now fix this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We want the heads up on what's coming out. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do we have?
Well, today there are two good drops. One that I'm really excited about, and actually they did update this on the site, Dave. I put it in the site so you can actually see the physical piece or the actual piece. But
Is
it's
that not
rhymes
what's on their tweet?
rhymes like dimes. I think it may be the same thing.
Oh, well,
yeah,
I'll bring it up. You can check it out.
but I dig rhymes like it's the same piece.
Yeah.
Rhymes like dimes is an awesome artist. I totally dig their work. So they're doing a drop tonight at 6:30, which is cool.
Sweet.
Nice.
And then this next one, yeah, Dave, you can look. So it's kind of got the same thing, but they did kind of a breakdown. I would say open up this one. But the next one tonight is Vinictus Costa. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but it's these surreal digital artists, and I really like their work. I think their work is very, very pretty. I think them and Rhymes Like Dimes go together on a drop really well together, you know, for the same day.
Well,
It's
this
pretty
is
cool. Yeah.
Now is this thing? This is just what the render looks like, I guess.
That's just
This
what
isn't
the render looks
actual
like.
NFT.
Yeah. Like
That's the
if
final
you click
right
on the
there.
link that I put in the chat, you can see some more of their work.
Okay. Let's see here.
That's really cool. I really like the surreal one a lot.
Right. Totally. Yeah.
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 I love all.
So-
Do you know if these are like
It's
3D?
loading.
I'm assuming that these are 3D to
I would
an extent,
assume
with maybe
yes,
some
because
Photoshop.
If you look at the let's see, the original one that Dave was showing, it actually showed like the clay render and stuff like that, and then it rendering, and then I'm assuming they threw just a you know, what are those things called that people uses all the time? The after plugins.
Topaz Studio.
I
Oh,
feel like
Topaz,
someone just
yeah.
threw a Topaz effect on top of
There's
it.
definitely like a LUT of some kind.
Yeah. But it's pretty work. Super cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I love
that's
it.
it as far as Nifty Gateway. I really wish they'd give us more. Like, come on, y'all. Be better.
I mean, come on.
Be better.
It's probably also sometimes an issue of the artists like getting their work together in time would be my guess.
But that shouldn't matter for them being able to say who is coming up for the week.
Right.
You know, like
Right.
even if I'm not able to click on the person, like me, for example, what I do, because they don't show any of the work ahead of time, you know, they like to tease you up until the day of.
Mm-hmm.
But like what I do is I see who's coming up. I either search for their page on Nifty or I go to look for them on Twitter. And almost like 90% of the time, the ones who actually care about their drop will have already put one of their pieces saying coming soon and teased it and stuff. So that's what we look for, you know.
Right.
It's just frustrating when, you know, you've got one of the biggest NFT sites just not like that should be a simple thing to correct, you know, like
Yeah.
that should be a very simple thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
No,
They're just not
I'm with
marketing
you
it
there.
well. They're not marketing it well, you
Yeah.
know. So
I agree with you there.
and if they want everyone in this world, if they want 1 billion NFTs sold or whatever it is that they say, you know, they need to get better at that marketing.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for my weekly rant about Nifty Gateway. Next up on Maker's Place, the 25th, which is tomorrow, is How I See Dat World is the first one.
Yeah. Cool.
So this one has really loud audio, Dave, just a warning.
Oh, it does.
Um,
I think I
so-
have all this muted. I do have
This
it
one is
muted,
called
so.
The Museum of Donuts. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Donuts.
Yeah, it's a bunch of pieces based around the Taurus, you know.
I
So,
like How I See That World because he
Yeah.
shares a lot of my posts.
Yeah,
And like, I don't know, I'm probably biased, but I feel like within like the 3D community, he's kind of like an OG because of that. Like he's
Uh-huh.
like been reposting stuff for years and years.
yeah,
So like maybe like a lot of newer collectors probably don't even know who that is. Like, you know, if you're just
Right.
like objectively looking at the art, maybe it's like not the most unique, but like he's an OG. Like, you know,
Yeah.
so collectors need to know that about How I See
Yeah.
That World.
A lot of
So,
people
Cool.
use that hashtag on their posts too.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We use
Oh,
that
that's
on
neat.
like just about every one of our posts.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the 25th. On the 26th, Walter Ios Jr. is doing a drop called "Sporting Life: The Diaries of Walter Ios Jr." I believe Walter is a sports photographer. He has been self-dubbed, I guess, the Rembrandt of sports photography. So, but yeah, just a bunch of stuff with is that Kobe?
Kobe?
I'm not good with sports ball. You know, ball go far.
Yes, that is Kobe.
So, yeah,
Ball go far.
ball go far.
And it literally says Kobe.
Yeah, yeah, it
Gotcha.
does. So, yeah, that's it for the big drops or whatever. Let's go into the community drops. Who do we want to hit up first, Dave?
So okay. Let's start with Mark Spinoza. He's got
Let's start. Yeah.
He has got
You know what? I put
Maker's
that.
Place.
No, I put that wrong. That's not right.
Oh.
That's the wrong link. My
oh
bad.
yeah, that's the one we just looked at, isn't it?
Yeah.
In it.
Let me. Okay, go somewhere else. I'll
All
find
right,
the link.
We'll go somewhere else. Let's talk about this in the meantime. Just a note here. Ross sold out his candy
Yeah.
NFTs, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure he's happy about that. Especially
Yeah.
today. Today's his birthday. Happy birthday, by the way, Ross.
Hey,
So that's a
I'm
good
sure.
birthday present.
I'm pretty sure he's sleeping right now. Otherwise, I would wish him a happy
That's not.
birthday.
That's not
Right.
surprising.
Yes.
But hey, it's his birthday. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah. Those who don't know, y'all are actually roommates. So I'm sure there's a
Yes.
lot of good NFT talk going around that
Yeah.
place for
Mhm.
sure. Yeah,
All
those
we
sold
talk
out.
about.
I love the what was it called? Was it called King Gumdrop or something? That was my favorite.
Mhm.
That's the one I liked. Yeah. And did you find it yet, Matt? He's still looking.
Yes. Sorry. I was trying to
Um,
figure out where he sent it to me. Let's see if it
Probably
actually.
in
There we go.
Discord.
Okay.
Did he post it in Discord?
Oh, he sent it to me personally in Discord. There you go.
Oh,
Now it's in the
okay,
chat.
cool. All right.
So
Now this is on Object, objkt.com.
Yeah, this is one that he did in Houdini, where it was like a I want to say generative, but it's not. Oh yeah, generative art. Okay, cool. Where it was able to pump out a bunch of different types of art all at once. Which I thought was really cool. Then he picked the best ones from, but it's a whole bunch of different splines and stuff like that, which I think is cool. The object stuff. This is where. And Ryan, you may disagree with me, but this is where I feel like the future of like the everyday, the occasional NFT person is going, right?
Okay.
So like people, because I feel like eventually it's going to get to the point where you post your work similar like you do on Instagram or whatever,
right?
And you'll just be able to sell it,
right?
Like
or not sell it.
Or not sell it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Any artist can be like, hey, here's some of my work. And if someone's like, oh, I love that. I'd love to have that as an NFT, you can just sell it for, either cheap. I think those were like $3 a piece or something like that. It's like, I can collect my favorite artists and stuff.
Sure.
Well, it's like, say, Instagram, you saw something you liked and you could just say, hey, I like this. Can I buy it? Like that easy. It needs to be that easy before it's really like adopted by more people, I guess.
I agree.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like I've seen a lot of haters. I'm sure you guys all have seen haters about the NFT space, and like I understand their hatred, where they're like, oh, I could just right click and save, blah blah blah,
Right.
And it's like, yes, okay, you're not wrong there. You're not wrong. You can right click and save, but for
can't
me,
right click and save the Mona Lisa and say that you
right.
own the Mona
Well,
Lisa.
for me, for example, as an artist, having an appreciation for other artists, I've always loved the idea of like owning a piece of their art,
Sure.
That's the whole reason I bought that Beeple piece in the first place, is because I just wanted the physical piece. It's like, oh, this is an actual physical piece that Beeple is doing, right? I never opened it or even looked at it before I sold it, which is sad. But but it's like, oh, you can buy a print, sure, but that's not video,
Right.
Prints are cool and stuff like that, but really I wanted video, and that's what drove me to fall in love with this space in the first place.
Yeah, I think like the right click save mentality is like those people aren't ever going to be buying like artwork. It's like
I think they will eventually. It's just going to be marketed differently. They're not going to realize that they are
but
actually doing that.
They're not the true art collectors,
right?
Because like buying a piece of digital art from somebody isn't about like having the physical print. It's about the sentiment. It's about like being along on the journey with this artist and like, making a statement that you support them. So, that's the true value of it.
And that's the thing. Like, I really like your art, and I would love to buy your art if I had that kind of money.
Right. That's the problem I'm having right now, because I was just on a phone call with David, oh my God, I'm gonna pronounce this wrong. David Paredes. He's an NFT collector. He's also the producer of the Pelas Gallery show next month. And he's been amazing to work with. He's been helping me like price my Nifty Gateway collection, and because he's really good with mechanics, and like I want people to be able to have my art. I don't want it to be like so expensive where that my friends can't have it.
Right.
But the problem is that I already have this collector base, and I also have to respect them.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
So it's like such a tough balance, So that's just what I'm struggling with right now. But
well, that's like what Mark says here in the chat. It says kind of fun to give friends art. He said, hit me up on Twitter and I'll give you one of mine.
And like, by the way, like if anybody wants like a metal print from Displate, I can give you a discount for that for any of my Mograph friends. I sent one to Dave, and like I like to do stuff
in the bedroom.
like I like to do stuff like that because not everybody can have the NFT, you know.
What I love about the
you know, here's the thing: you get well enough known and stuff like that. Those physical pieces are going to be worth just as much, or eventually could be worth just as much. You know, after you croak or something like that. You know, be like, oh, this was given to me by Ryan Talbot.
Yeah,
you know?
and also like Scott Unruh printed this.
Oh gosh,
yes.
I was gonna talk to you about this because that is gorgeous. Scott has done a beautiful job at that.
Yes, the webcam isn't doing it justice, but it's awesome.
Not. No.
I'll try and
also
pull up
the antenna
has.
fell out right before the stream, and I can't find it.
Oh man.
But so like I would love to be able to like produce more of these and like make them affordable for people to just like have on their desk.
Gorgeous.
You know,
that's the actual
so
I
model.
wonder if you could talk to like a Chinese toy company or something like that. You know, a manufacturing company who actually like creates the molds and stuff like that.
Right.
I bet you could do that.
Yeah, I mean, so far, like, it's been great working with Scott too. Like, I think he's such like a master at his craft already, and like he's like always getting new toys to play with. Like, he just posted something the other day. He got this like thing to do like glass effects. You know,
it was
plastic.
it was like a vacuum seal
like a
type
vacuum
thing
sealer.
that would create impressions based off of whatever you had under it, right? And so he was creating a glass, you know, visor or whatever for one
visor.
of EJ's helmets. Yeah.
Oh, man,
cool.
that's cool.
Super cool.
Yeah, so I definitely would love to keep working with him on, you know, improving the Lily design and producing some more of those. So
we'll have to have an episode
shout out
where
to Scott.
he's gonna have to show us, like, maybe do an episode on 3D printing or something. That would be fun.
All of his are resin prints, right? They're not actual like.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they're resin prints.
Yes, they're resin.
They look clean.
Yeah, the thing about resin
Ryan's
prints
gone.
is there's a lot more like involved with that. A lot more setup, a lot more work, but it looks better.
Yeah. It looks way better.
Yeah. You don't have those lines of resolution on it or whatever. But
that's what I was like. I wasn't sure at first, like when he said he was gonna print it, if it was gonna have those lines and stuff.
Yeah.
But then he sent it to me, and it's like it's so smooth. Like you can't tell at all that it's a 3D print. It's got like a nice weight to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Well, let's look at these other community drops, and then I want to dig into your pieces as well, because there's a bunch of them now.
Let's see. Go ahead.
Paul up on
Paul Robinson. Yes.
On the board next. Let me go ahead.
Yeah, Paul is doing a drop on Nifty Royale. Called the Obsidian series, and that sale starts in 2 days, so on the 26th, which is cool. Paul's been killing it.
After centuries of greed and neglect, we are faced with the threat of eradication. In the race for world domination, our future is in the hands of a sinister creation programmed for destruction.
It's fun.
Rated R.
Rated R.
Starts Friday.
Starts Wednesday.
Cool.
Yeah, cool looking stuff. I love it.
He's got the videos.
He's been doing a lot of these liquid sims lately, and I think they look really good.
But he's got like liquid gen.
Yeah, he is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Liquid sims are hard, man.
Yeah, they are.
Difficult.
Especially get them to look good. You know, that's why I was thinking that the liquid gen looked so good, because, you know, you didn't get a bunch of that clumping and weird, like, just individual blobs that just didn't look good, you know? Exciting. So, what else do we got, Dave?
The next one, this is awesome. This is Winbush, and this is a collab that he is doing with Method Man.
Yeah,
awesome. I can't believe that. That's freaking amazing right there.
Super cool. Yeah.
This is Friday, January 28th. So it's this Friday. So you got some time to get your wallet ready.
Love it.
And I'm assuming that this is in Unreal Engine.
I would assume so. Yeah. I bet you anything that he put the Rococo suit on, you know, and he did it. You think?
Oh yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, he might
maybe.
have. I don't know. I don't know,
because that's not necessarily like, you know, he did have he did have Mixmaster Mike in the suit.
Yeah.
You know, in order to get the actual movements and stuff. But I don't know if you
This is just
necessarily need that.
yeah.
Yeah. You could
Maybe
have
he did it
anyone
himself.
do that. Yeah.
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 Cool.
That's cool.
Sweet.
The Legend
else?
of Windbush.
What else we got here? Travis Ragsdale. Let's talk about this.
Yes.
He said, "Hey everyone, hope you're staying safe. I recently locked in a 10K." Now he wrote this, I believe, on the Get NFT Facebook. Recently locked in a 10K PFP project on Crypto.com, and I need to get some folks in the Discord and following on Twitter. Really spent a lot of time on the project, and I think it's a cool concept. Any shares, follows, retweets would be so appreciated. Also, we're giving away 3 cash prizes to 3 random people in the first 1,000 Discord members. So if you join, you've got a chance to win $1,000 or $500. And he's got all the info. He's got the Discord link, Twitter link. I'm going to put all that in the show notes so you can check that out. And then here is what it is. It is the Alphabot Society. Have you heard of this yet, Matt?
I haven't, no.
I saw him post about it, and like Travis is also like another Dallas freelancer.
Yeah.
So like he's such a great guy too, and super
I love
talented.
Travis.
He's always like been super helpful to me too. So I would
First
definitely
ever
get one of
Choose
these.
Your Own Adventure. Oh, those are beautiful.
Yeah, they are. They're really,
And they definitely look
really
a lot
beautiful.
more different than the Mechabots do.
I mean, this
Yeah.
is like,
Yeah.
what Mecha should be, right?
Yeah.
I'm
I
curious
sold my
about
Mecha.
this.
I sold it.
Oh, you did?
How much did
I
you
did.
sell it for?
Sold it for like 1.5 ETH.
How much did you pay for it?
$720. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I mean, I
flipped it.
still
Yeah.
made money. Yeah,
Okay,
I still
cool.
made money. I was able
Yeah.
to mint one, so
Oh,
I
okay,
wasn't too
yeah.
worried about it. But
Yeah.
still, it's like I could have sold it for $30,000, you know,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
didn't. I could have
Dude.
sold it for 9 ETH. But then
Yeah.
like I sold it like when ETH was at $3,700, and now it's at
Right.
25, 24.
Yeah.
It's like 2,200 the last time I checked.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
is tanking right now.
Everything
Stocks,
is tanking. Yeah.
everything. It's
Mhm.
like, all right,
Yeah.
That's
come on,
why
guys.
I'm
Come on, I
just-
need the market to come
I'm
back.
just
I gotta
holding
pay
on
my
to my-
taxes from last year.
Yeah. I'm
know?
holding on to my crypto and my tokens and things right now. I don't really have anything in stocks at the moment. But for me, I'm just holding on to it because everything is going down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not like, my render tokens are going down right now because render's going down. Everything's going down.
Everything.
And so
yeah.
I'm just going to just sit and let it ride. I don't know what else to do, honestly.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's everything. So you just got to wait
Yeah.
for everything to go back up, or, what else are you going to do? Cash out, and then, that's
Yeah.
not really
Yeah.
helping anything, I guess, as long as you
Yeah.
can afford to leave it in.
My method at first my method was to hold all of my ETH as I got it. That's what I did like for the first few months that I was doing NFTs.
Yeah.
But I realized that strategy wasn't working for me because what I would do was I would panic sell when it would dip, and I
Yeah.
would just hold on to it when it goes up. So I was essentially just like having my money like
Yeah.
every time I made a sale.
Yeah.
And because I was viewing that as income, because I pretty much didn't do any client work last year, like
Mhm.
I'm counting on that money to be like coming in. So like,
Yeah.
so now I will cash it out immediately when I make a sale, and then I will look for those dips to buy back in.
Yeah.
And
right.
and like I'll keep some ETH around. Like I won't liquidate all of it. I'll keep a few
Yeah.
around, because I want to like buy NFTs and stuff.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's good to secure those funds because you're
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
going to be paying taxes on the
Yes.
amount. So yeah, you're going to be paying taxes on the amount of ETH, like what it was worth when you got it as an artist who's selling. So like even if I don't sell my ETH, I'm still paying taxes on the USD value of that ETH when I received it.
Right.
So if I kept it all, I'd be on the hook for thousands of dollars of taxes for money I don't actually have. So,
Right.
Yeah.
so that's another reason. Like if you're an artist and you want to do NFTs full time, I would recommend liquidating at least like half of what you're making, because you're gonna need it for taxes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's interesting. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
yeah,
But everything is going down. If it would be one thing if crypto was going down or like ETH by itself was going down, but because it's everything, it's like
all
I
my
know
stocks,
that
man, they're down like 15%. You know,
Yeah.
it's like that's
just
ridiculous.
Everything. So it's like it really has nothing to do with the particular token or the cryptocurrency or whatever. It's just all of it. I think that's the best thing to do is wait right now.
Right.
You know.
And it seems like the value of crypto tokens are like sort of becoming tied to traditional stock markets. Whereas
I did notice that
back in
previously it wasn't the case. It was like when the stock market would go down, crypto would go up.
Right.
You know, but
they
now
were
it's like
separate things, almost opposites. And now it's like your everyday average consumer is also buying crypto just as much as they're buying stocks. So they kind of like go up and down together now.
Which sucks.
Yeah. It's like
a different dynamic.
My render token is down right now, but it's like it has nothing to do with the token. So I'm just going to hold it and see what happens when everything goes back up. I mean, it could go higher when it goes back up, you know? So I'm just like, why not just hold on to everything? And I had a note too I wanted to talk about with I mean, unless you want to talk more about crypto and stonks. But
no, go ahead.
I've got a note too that I saw on Clinton Jones's Twitter this morning, just to watch out for, is apparently someone is claiming to be him and trying to sell those alternate realities art as NFTs. He said, I don't know who Meta Walker's NFT is, but it's downright nasty. Don't be fooled and consider reporting them if you feel the need. I think that should be handled somehow. And here's the problem, right? Like, we're in the Wild West right now. We have no regulations when it comes to any of this. There's no recourse. Everything is encrypted. There's people in God knows what random country in some random building somewhere in the world wreaking havoc on people like Clinton Jones. And there's just like, there's no way to really track it down or fix it or whatever.
Yeah. There's so many copycats out there.
Yeah.
You know, it's happened to me. It's happened to a bunch of artists I know. Like the other day, I went to buy an edition of a Brendan North photography piece on OpenSea, and I searched Brendan North, and the first result was the copycat. The first result wasn't even his collection, so I almost bought it. And then I was like, something seems off about this, because like it was like a bundle with like 10 editions in one, and I was like, this doesn't seem right. So I went to his Twitter and I went to his link tree and clicked on the actual link in his bio, and it took me to a different collection, and I was like, okay, this is
See, that OpenSea has got to be better about getting rid of that stuff. You know, they've got to be better about that.
Right. So I think like if you maybe like you can't mint the same image twice. I know like on Maker's Place, you can't mint the same video or image more than once. Like you literally have to like change one of the pixels in order to remint something.
Right. Because
so,
it takes that file, it hashes it with an algorithm, or just hashes it with something.
Yeah.
You know? And then that the output of that equals some random ridiculous number, and it can see that number. I mean, that's how any hashing works, but it knows, because that hash will never result from anything else in the universe.
Right.
You know.
But like even then you can still like change one pixel and most people aren't going to notice.
Right.
So like there has to be some like AI that looks at it and is like, wait, this is a copy of this.
Right.
I don't know.
It's got to be more than just like you can't just rely on it to be exactly the same.
Yeah.
Because all you got to do is
scale
take
it up
the image
1%.
Right.
All the pixels are going to be different.
Recompress it. Just go through it and change a JPEG recompression, and you don't get the same hash result. So it's like you have to have that AI that can see, in quotes, you know, to really do it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Tell us about the Pellis Gallery or Payas Gallery.
Okay, so I got confirmation that technically it's a Spanish term that's pronounced Payas, but they call it Pellis.
Okay.
Like that's what everybody calls it. So they said it's okay to say Pellis.
Okay.
So this was a show that is happening in Boston next month, February 23rd and 24th.
Right.
I was super lucky to be asked by Ness to join the show. He curated a short list of artists who I think are all incredible.
Amazing.
And
I love all those artists.
Yeah.
I think everybody's killing it. Yeah, I'm super excited. So everybody's doing an edition piece for the show.
Cool.
And David, the producer, is pre-selling everything. So the idea is that it's going to be totally sold out by the time the show actually happens.
Nice.
Why is that?
What's
the advantage of that versus like say putting them up and then
because we're curating the collectors. So like you know, David is a seasoned collector veteran, at least I think he is. And you know, so we want to make sure that these pieces are getting into the hands of collectors who are gonna like appreciate them and hold on to them for a long time. You know, no bots, no flippers, nothing like that.
Right.
So that's one reason. And then they're reserving one of the editions to be a raffle. So if you go to the show in person, then you can enter the raffle and get the last edition. So
that's cool.
I see.
Yeah.
Ryan, let me ask you this: since you're so like I have been wanting to. Sure, go for it. I have been wanting to do like a gallery show in Dallas.
Okay.
You know, would you be interested in doing that? Like, have you had any interest in doing a gallery show in Dallas?
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. I went to one last year that was put on by what's his name? It was a really cool event. But yeah, I would love to do one.
I don't know. I think it would be cool to put one together, you know?
Yeah.
Especially
would it
knowing
be
so
like
many
only,
people.
Would it be only Dallas artists or just like
No,
mix?
I don't necessarily think so.
Yeah.
Like just artists that we like or something like that. I think it would be really fun to put like, you know me and Dave. We love putting on a party, you know?
Yeah.
And so like being able to do an actual gallery show full of like all the NFT artists that we know, I think would be really neat, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. Call it the Mograph NFT or gallery show. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm basically like I'm booked up until March 1st when my Nifty drop is, and then after that I can start thinking about the next thing.
Should do that. We should do that.
Yeah.
I bet you we could easily find a place to hold one. You know, I know a few people who work at art galleries or whatever. I don't know. So could be interesting. Dave, we're gonna do a gallery show in Dallas.
Well, we've been talking about that.
Yeah.
As part of our DFWC 4D thing. You know, integrating all that. Did you talk about on this gallery? Did you talk about the individual people on this one by one? I didn't know.
Not one by one.
No, we haven't.
Yeah.
Let me pull up the poster. I mean, so yeah, you know, you got Ralph Grassetti, you got Annabelle Sickle-Nofi, you got Ness, obviously, G-Monk, Idol, who I don't know if it's pronounced Jarvin Art or Yarvin Art, but I think her actual name is Idol or Edel, and she's from Turkey. And so she does these like amazing like architectural renders with like all the tiny little greebles and everything. You know, Plant Daddy, Sam, she does these like really cool like ZBrush sculpted scenes that are like kind of like surreal.
Cool.
You know, obviously Raoul Marx is the OG Astro guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got Gernge, who's from our own Mograph. And Gernge just did his first Nifty Gateway drop. He's part of a curated show. And he did his super rare Genesis like a month ago. So yeah. And
he's killing it in the space.
Yeah, and Arcanair, who does these like super, I don't know if I pronounced that right, I'm so sorry. But I think they're like painted. But he's got like a very like colorful painterly style.
Yeah. So that is the thing. Dave, can you bring that back up?
Yeah.
I was looking at the sponsors down at the bottom. Are those the actual sponsors, Atomic Form and Samsung Next?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
What is Samsung Next?
Samsung Next is the new TV from
TV?
Samsung.
Okay.
Yeah, that are supposed to show off NFTs and stuff like that.
Yeah, we were looking at that on TikTok the other day.
I think that's the Samsung like photo.
It's cool. It's like a photo viewer.
Yeah, it's
and
what I think is rad about it that's what's rad about it is that it runs all the electronics behind the screen, into a secondary area, so that you don't have to worry about like power or anything like that. Like it being not.
That's
flush
always
with
the worst,
wall.
right? You put a TV up on the wall, and then it's like, well, now I have to get 5 HDMI's up there. How am I going to do that? It's just one cable into the wall, and that should be every TV. The box sits somewhere else now. You plug everything in. It's perfect.
I think it's cool. Yeah. Very cool.
I was going to ask you a question too. You've got a drop coming up.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah. So the piece that I'm doing for the Payless Gallery is going to be the first piece in my solo Nifty Gateway collection, which will be March 1st. Yeah. So there's going to be 2 more pieces in addition to the Payless piece. The one I'm working on right now, it's like Tank and Lily are like fishing in like a bioluminescent pond.
That's cool.
So yeah, and then I have to come up with 2 more, which is why I have nothing else planned for the next month. I'm just working on the art.
I was gonna say, do you have any of them complete, or like, are you showing these off ahead of time or no?
Yeah, I'm definitely like I'm rendering the fishing one right now. I was hoping it would be rendered by now so I could show it off on the show, but it's still rendering.
Still baking.
Yeah, still baking. Dude, I need to get one of those like render box machines with like 4 3090s in it.
Right.
Like
that's a write-off.
Yeah.
Of course, you got to be able to find 3090s.
Yes. Yeah.
It's always the issue.
Now you had one where Lily was playing the piano the other day that I saw. Has that one already been minted and everything?
Yeah. So the story with that one was that it was going to be for the Payless show. But
and then someone's like, "Here, I'll give you some money for it."
Yeah,
like, all right, I'll do it.
On Twitter, and I was like, "I'm saving this for something special," because Ness hadn't made the announcement yet. And then a collector DM'd me, and like I told him how much the edition price was going to be and everything, and he was like, "Okay, well, like I'll offer you for all of that for like a 1 of 1." And so I was like, "Okay," I thought about it for a little bit, and we talked a little bit. And he's like a great collector. He's got an X copy piece, and he's got like a bunch of other 1 of 1s from Super Rare. And yeah, he just he seemed like it would be a good fit. So I was like, let's do it, and I'll come up with something new for the show. And I think it works out because I had another piece called Serenade where it was just Lily playing the guitar on Super Rare, and so those can both be 1 of 1s, and then. The piece I'm working on now will fit more with the Nifty Gateway collection, and that'll be like more of like an edition thing. Yeah. So,
which one was the very first one? I'm trying to find that now.
It was the balloon one, wasn't it?
So the very first one, my Genesis, was actually called Lily's Guardian, and it was Lily being like held by this like bigger robot holding an umbrella, and so that was my Genesis piece on Super Rare, and that one went to Barat Crimo. So I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong.
No, you're fine.
But yeah, so I put that up, and it actually like it was just kind of sitting there for a while. Like I had a collector who wanted it, but then it was just kind of like, oh yeah, maybe I'll put a bid in, and then like it just never really happened. So it was just kind of like sitting there for a few days. And I was like, crap, this is like my Super Rare Genesis. Like, it needs to like get into like good hands. Like, I got a couple low ball offers on it, and I was just like, like I've already been selling on Maker's Place for this much, so I'm not going to accept these. And so I just messaged Barat, and I was like, hey man, like you've collected a couple of my things on Maker's Place, and like I really appreciate it. Like, would you be interested in like having this piece, and like I'll give it to you for a discount. So like I gave it to him for less than I originally wanted to sell it for, but it was because it was Barat. Like he had already collected things from me. I know he's a great, solid collector, and so like I wanted my Genesis piece to be with him. So he immediately was like, "Yeah, of course, let's do it." And then he actually like offered me more than I asked for because I was telling him that I just wanted him to have it. Yeah. So like he took that piece, and then that ended up working out really well for me because I'm into the balloon one next, and that one just blew up. So
that one.
Went for like way more money than I ever thought I would sell my work for. So Yeah, and then everything's been smooth sailing since then.
Yeah, I'm sure he was happy about that one being sold for a lot more.
Yeah,
right?
and and that's like pushed up my prices since then too. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
The day before you minted this, you posted it
Mhm.
on Instagram, I believe, and
Mhm.
I actually screenshotted it. I sent it to the Halo group, and I was like, "Oh my god, y'all! Like this is amazing! Like I
Yeah.
want this. How much is this gonna be?" And then the next day, it sold for 30 ETH.
Yeah.
So couldn't afford that, but this is the one that I have as the metal print hanging up, and now I want to get more because we've got a couple blank spots on the wall now, and it looks weird because it's up there and it's empty, right? So like the cool thing about this service that you're using to do these metal prints, like it's not like a canvas print. It's like metal, like it is printed on the metal, super durable. What's great about it is it's thin and it comes with stickable magnets. You put those magnets approximately where you want it on the wall, and then you just slap the metal piece right up on
That's
the wall,
cool.
and you just center it where you want it. It's great. It's so easy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I hate like when you have to get out the measuring tape and like
Yes.
the ruler and draw a
Right.
line with the pencil and be like, all right, I think this is gonna line up. No, it's just like I have one hanging right there. So this is a piece by by Raja that I bought on Super Rare. It's his Stranger Things collaboration. And then
Cool.
he sent me the disc plate for it. And that's the first time I've hung one up because like I sold my own disc plates to other people, but I didn't have one for myself. So
Right.
yeah, it's like super easy. You can just like pull it off the wall and put it back
How's
on.
the color come out? In
Oh,
it's
comparison?
gorgeous.
It's
Yeah.
it's very vibrant
Yeah.
and easy to see. Because like before, I was doing like prints that were in a glass case, and the problem with those is that there's so many reflections on the glass. It makes it really difficult, especially because a lot of my scenes are dark, like they're at nighttime. So when you have those reflections on there, sometimes it's harder to see. But with these, they're a little glossy. You can actually choose like if you want matte or glossy, but it's so much more vibrant. There's no like glass in front of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you have all of them up there? Do you have like a landing page? Or
Yeah. I mean, it's just like my displate shop. I don't really like advertise it, but I can send you the link to it.
yeah. Because I want to look on there and see, because I want to get some other ones now to fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
Um,
Let me know. I'll hook you up.
oh yeah, see,
Because I get 50% off when I order it myself.
Ooh.
So yeah, definitely
Okay,
go through me.
yeah, you can see here like more from this collection. Here, I'll bring it up. You can see all of that. You add it, and the prices are not bad. $44. You know? So now I got to figure out what's going to be next. This one for sure. I have to ask.
Yeah.
I have to ask Julie what she thinks. But
Yeah,
this
that
one
one's
for sure.
gorgeous.
Love that one. And then I'm gonna need one more. We'll figure out which one. Maybe the bike one, or like the wheel one, because it's got the balloons from the other piece. You know.
Yes.
That would be good.
Yeah. I need to put the piano one up there too. So that one would be like horizontal though, and none of the other ones are horizontal. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So
That's rad.
Where did the idea for these come from? Was it just kind of organic, like you made one and then you're like, this is
So
is
like
cool.
Tank, I was still on Maker's Place at the time. Like I wasn't on Super Rare yet. Yeah, so the one before that one was actually like the first one that kind of started the series, where it's just like Tank sitting under a leaf and there's like some fireflies. And yeah, it was just me sitting at my computer trying to figure out like what the next thing was going to be. That one.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark in the chat, said you're the first person in the Mograph community who he heard refer to yourself as an NFT artist.
Yeah.
Which I agree. You are one of the first people that I've heard say, "Oh yeah, I'm an NFT artist."
Yeah.
I'm a motion designer. I'm not I'm an NFT artist. I do NFTs.
What do you do for a
Right.
living?
Yeah, like sometimes I call myself a digital artist because like sometimes there's like a weird connotation calling yourself an NFT artist, especially when you're talking to like people who outside in the normal world who like know nothing about this. But yeah, NFT artist or digital artist full time. Yeah.
Or like people who have watched like South Park and that's their idea.
Right.
Of what NFTs
Yeah, that's
are.
what like you go on YouTube and if you search like for NFTs, like anything about NFTs, it's all about, maybe the Bored Ape Yacht Club comes up, but then like it's all this other like junk. You see what people's perceptions of NFTs are, and it's totally different than what we're doing. Like, they don't know anything about Super Rare. They're not talking about artists. They're talking about these like animal 10K projects,
Right.
It's so I understand now like why so many people hate NFTs, because like they're not educated on like what I'm doing versus like these 10K projects.
Right.
Right. Yeah. It's like the generative, like almost Microsoft Paint looking stuff,
Yeah, or like do you see like the Pepsi Cola, their generative project?
I
didn't see
Oh,
theirs.
dude,
No.
yeah, like Pepsi did a generative project that it looked so bad. I mean, if you can pull it up, like it's just so we can laugh at it.
Yeah, people were like,
it was like literally they just like found a vector art library on Pond 5 and just like threw that in a generator, and that's your 10K project.
Oh, weird.
And it's just like all like they're talking on Twitter like very much like a brand. They're just using all the buzzwords like WAGMI.
In this space,
saw that. That was annoying.
Yeah, so it's stuff like that that most people are seeing,
Micdrop.pepsi.com.
Yeah, the mic drop.
Okay.
They're so bad. It's like a vector art of a microphone, and then like a vector art of just like mustaches and just the most random things.
Why
like
microphones?
There's
a mic
exactly. Yeah.
It's Micdrop.Pepsi.
And they're giving it out for free. I'm pretty sure it's only gas fees. So like these things aren't gonna hold their value unless Pepsi does something to make them valuable.
Like, what is the value in that?
Right. So it's weird. Already free from the start.
It's like, oh, okay, we're just whatever. It's Pepsi.
So
of course, you had the Thanksgiving parade that did well. And I don't know if that
but those were also
giving
that money to charity and stuff.
Right.
So by buying an NFT, you can also write that off as a tax write-off. Versus buying something from Pepsi.
Right.
Yeah, and I think those were done by actual artists. I mean, I know the artist who did those Macy ones. You're talking about the balloons. Yeah. So for one, it's done by an actual artist who cares about the project. And I think it's just very obvious to the community when a brand just decides to come in and pretend to be one of the cool kids.
Right.
When they're when they're just trying to like
fellow NFT artists.
I think there's a clear difference between that and like people who like really like put a lot of care into their projects, you know.
For sure.
Yeah. Like Travis Ragsdale, his Alpha Bot Society, those look dope as hell. Like
that you can tell that there was care given to that.
Yeah.
It looks so good. Yeah. Couple questions in the chat I wanted to get to. One of them is, what do you think of the future of C4D? Are you considering switching to Houdini full time? You do Houdini stuff, right?
No, I know nothing about Houdini.
Oh,
nope.
I thought you dabbled in it a little for some reason.
I'm gonna have to get you that Stop
course.
Being Afraid of Houdini course.
I watched the first few lessons of it. And then it just got too advanced for me. Because I was working at ABC at the time, and like also like it was hard to like have the time to do both, like working a full-time job and and also like learn a Houdini course at night. So but I mean like the course I'm sure is awesome. Like I love Mark, and like I did the first lesson where you like learn how to put a cube on a sphere but the Houdini way. And like it so that they're like in contact with each other while it's rolling. And like I like learning stuff like that because like all the nerdy things about how to do character animation, like contact between objects in 3D, because like it's not like the real world where like you just pick something up. It's like no, you have to like put it in the null so that it's attached to the hand, and then when it's touching the table, you have to take it out of that null or use a constraint tag. So it's interesting.
The substance stuff you do though is pretty advanced, right?
I mean, I dabble in
tutorials.
Substance. I don't really maybe it's just imposter syndrome, but I don't like to call myself like an expert at Substance. I'm like, I jump into it when I need to do something and then I figure it out, kind of.
Yeah, but all the graffiti and all the stuff that you have, on some of these characters and some of these scenes, that's Substance, right? Or no?
So actually, the graffiti map is just like I drew it on my iPad and then I exported it as just like a square tile that I throw on everything because it's all
Okay.
UV unwrapped. I UV unwrap everything in Cinema 4D.
Okay.
Because I should be doing it in a different program, but it's easier for me to have it all in one program. So I UV unwrap it. Yeah, I UV unwrap it in Cinema 4D, and then I throw that graffiti map on there. So, but like there are custom grunge and like edgeware that I can only do in Substance Painter. So like the metal edgeware around the eyes and the body, like that has to be Substance because
it's kind of procedurally generated, right?
It's procedural, but then I also touch it up with like actual brushstrokes afterwards to make it look more organic. Because if you just do the procedural one, it still looks pretty good. But like adding those brushstrokes by hand, just like random dents and things like that, just makes it feel so much more organic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see yourself getting into Houdini at all later though? Like if you have the time, or are you just gonna stick with Cinema? Because the question is, the future of Cinema 4D. Do you feel like there's any reason to move?
I plan on sticking with Cinema 4D. I don't plan on jumping into Houdini anytime soon, just because like the amount of time I would have to spend learning that skill set when there are plugins like EmberGen and LiquidGen out there that are just going to get better and better. Like I'm not going to spend my time in Houdini. Like I think Houdini is like, it's for a different type of brain too. Like Mark is super smart.
True.
Like he's like really good with the maths and everything and creating generative art, and I'm not a generative artist. So like my stuff is all based around storytelling and like putting elements together, which is better suited for Cinema 4D.
And a lot of people would say, why not switch to Blender? And it's like, well, why would you just switch? Why would you be like, oh, I've done 4D for 10 years, I'm just gonna switch? Like there has to be a reason.
I really need to save myself, $1,100 a year.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
at this
nothing.
point,
Like, if you're doing work for
it's
clients.
affordable. Yeah, it's affordable for me to subscribe to Cinema 4D, so I'm going to keep doing that. And no, I don't have any plans to switch. But I can see why the Blender community is growing so much faster.
Sure.
Because it's free. So you have all these kids that are coming up, and it's the free thing to download. Right. And there's so many great tutorials now too. You got Ian Hubert. You got the donut guy, Andrew Price. Yeah. So there's just, I can see why, but I'm sticking
that's a
with
hard thing for Maxon because they're up against a free program that all the kids are buying, and all those kids are going to learn from that, and that's what they're going to be using 10 years from now. But like, for
the
us
question
who are
is,
here, we don't have a reason to move that direction.
Yeah.
Like
the question is, what's the price point going to be before Blender finally says, okay, we're going to sell our software? I don't
right. I mean, it's always been like open source. So
there's got to be a price tag.
Yeah, but nobody
if
owns
someone offers them,
it's open source.
So
I don't.
But like, if there's nobody owns Blender, so how are they going to sell it? Like,
well, okay, so then I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Yeah,
I don't see how at this point, but. If there's something that I need to do in Blender, I'll move to Blender, just for that thing. But I'm probably not going to move fully to Blender just to do the one thing I want to do. Just like Houdini, same thing. I'm going to go do a sim or do some threads, interweaving or something, and then I'm going to bring it all back into Cinema. But
yeah.
Ryan, let me ask you this, because you brought up an interesting point earlier where you're focusing more on the story part of it, And I'd really like to hear your thought process on how you go about creating, like telling a story, or, how you come up with the idea for that specific story. Because I think you do it very well,
Thank you.
Like your art, seeing your art, it's like you definitely, in a short amount of time, get a very well done story,
Thank you. I watch a lot of movies, so like I don't want to take like all the credit. Like I think I get inspiration from a lot of different places. Like I'm always looking at art on Instagram, and I'm always watching Pixar films, and and I think there's a lot of inspiration to be had outside of art too, like going outside, and I go to the park every day and I go for a walk, clearing my mind. And then, I draw a lot of stuff on my iPad too. So like when an idea pops into my head, like first I'm thinking about like what makes a clean composition, like what's like, what's going to work that you can like see everything that's happening in the same frame. And then I'll just go draw it on my iPad. And if I think it's going to work, then I'll just go and start working on it in 3D.
Is there a like?
Hey guys, give me 1 second. I just got a call that I gotta take. I gotta take something.
Okay. The question I have for you is on the storyline. Is there any rough storyline? Like, do you have like a secret kind of idea in your head of where it's going?
Yeah. So I've had a couple, like it's evolving. Like I've had a couple ideas for like, cause like ultimately I want to make a short film. Like I want to make a short film about Lily. And like, it's a different beast though, because making these like bite-sized stories for like loops and NFTs, it doesn't have to be as fleshed out as making an entire short film where you have to have a theme, and there has to be some kind of change within the character in order for it to be a short film. Whereas like these NFT loops, nothing really changes because it loops every 20 seconds and then it goes back to the start. So yeah, but I have some ideas. Yeah. What was the question again?
No, I was just curious, it might be rough, it might be kind of like idea. I kind of do that sometimes on projects as well. Like kind of have a random story in my head about what's going on with the project that probably nobody would ever even I wouldn't even tell anybody, it's just kind of like, this is where this is going, I think, in my head. Even on like a one-time render, right? You put something together and you're like, maybe you put a character in a pose. You're like, well, you see what in the back of your head, you're like, he just got off of work and he came in for a drink at this cafe, and something like that. I was just curious if that's kind of a thing. But let's also talk about the crypto sphere, the collectors keeping up on Twitter, talking to people, networking, schmoozing.
Yeah.
Like shilling your work, but not shilling your work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. It's a tough balance, right? Because you have to be connected on Twitter 24/7, at least in the beginning. When you're trying to establish yourself, you kind of have to be everywhere all the time.
Right.
And you want collectors to know who you are. You want them to be aware of your work without being pushy about it. Like shill appropriately, but don't shill unannounced. It's kind of like sending an unsolicited dick pic, right?
Right.
If you just message a collector and was like, here, I made this thing.
Buy my thing.
Yeah, I think like the best connections start just like with genuine conversation. So like try to find some like common interests, like outside of just the artwork. Like what else are you interested in? And it's almost a little bit like dating, it's almost a little bit like when you're on Tinder and you're like trying to like start up a conversation with a stranger.
Right.
And yeah, I think it's always going to be beneficial to just be yourself, just like be a genuine person. Don't try to pretend to like be somebody else just to sell your artwork. And I know that's like a really difficult thing to actually do sometimes when, you really like want to sell your work. But yeah, I think it's important to stay true to yourself for sure.
Totally.
Like Crypto 888, for example, right?
Yeah.
Like he's got to be getting bombarded.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, so like in the case with a big collector like that, at least for me, like they found me and then they sent me a message So like I wasn't really like shilling my work directly to them. It's more like, oh, if you get a follow from 888 or Cosmo or any of these big collectors, that can be like a sign that they're interested in your work, you know? And then if they send you a message, then it's definitely like an open invitation to start the conversation, and it means that they want to know more about you. And maybe like they're going to be a little bit cautious at first because there's a million people that are trying to sell their work, you know, to them. But
digital
you know,
flirting. It's art flirting.
Yeah.
No, we need NFT poking, like on Facebook.
Can we not? Can we just
888 poked you?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. So like day to day, you're talking about like at the beginning, especially, right? 24/7, you're on that Twitter. What do you do? What are you watching for? Certain notifications? Are you setting up notifications, looking for certain words or certain posts from certain people?
Yeah, I mean, I follow notifications from a few people, just to like stay in the loop of what's happening, you know, because like when your friends are dropping, you want to be there for them. You know, when a collector does something big, you know, you want to know like what happened. So yeah, it's just kind of like making sure that people know who you are and like, you know, try to just put the best work out there you possibly can.
Yeah, if you're gonna put like one of your things up on Twitter too, like personally, how do you feel the best way for somebody new, what they would need to do to go about advertising it? Because obviously they're gonna put it on Twitter, they're probably gonna pin it on Twitter or whatever, right? But after that, how do you shill without just looking completely spammy?
So like what I do is I'll post work in progress pics and videos while I'm working on it. So like by the time I've posted the final thing, there's already like a hype train behind it.
Right.
Because you've shared the behind the scenes and people are interested in seeing how it turned out.
Right.
You know? So that's my strategy. And so like I think that works really well. And it makes other people feel like they're a part of the journey with you when they see like the sneak previews and stuff.
Now you're posting that on Twitter. Are you posting in like Instagram stories of the progress and all that as well?
Yeah, I still I don't post as much on Instagram anymore, but I still believe that it's good to be active on
That's what I'm hearing everywhere.
Yeah.
Like all the artists are like, oh, I'm not really posting on Instagram anymore.
Yeah, just because it's not necessary anymore for me, but I still think it's important because there's still like a following there, and there's still a lot of people who want to see what you're working on.
It's all stories and reels now, though. You know, that's
yeah. I post a lot more on my story than I actually like do feed posts on Instagram. Same. Like the feed is just reserved for the final product.
Yep.
Like it's basically your portfolio.
Right.
But yeah, as far as like shilling it after you've posted it, like if you've had something that's just kind of like sitting there and you're like, well, now what do I do? Because like everybody knows it's there, but it hasn't sold yet.
Yeah.
For example, I've got
so
my
like,
piece that has
Me
just
too.
been sitting there for like a month or two.
Mine's
you know?
been there a year.
It's like,
go check it out on Foundation.
Yeah, I mean, I know that feeling, and it sucks because you're like, I'm an overthinker. So like I'll just overthink the crap out of it. If it doesn't sell for like a day, I'm just like, oh my god, like does it suck? Like is there something in here that I missed that like makes it really bad? Like what? So I think it's important to keep your composure. Don't freak out. Don't go on Twitter and be like, oh man, it's been 30 days since I've sold something, because that's like when you like haven't had sex for a long time. You're like, oh, it's day 365 without sex, and I'm no, but just like I would just say go about how you normally would before. Like act like nothing's changed, like you're a ship that's going to keep moving forward, whether that piece has sold or not. I wouldn't recommend like minting a lot more if you haven't sold your last thing,
right?
Because I think that's another mistake, is like people think, oh well, I'll just mint something new, but then you start to build up this like unsold marketplace that's just sitting there, and it looks worse. It looks worse than just having one unsold piece.
Right.
Because if you just have one unsold thing, that's okay. Like you can still go about your business on Twitter and like people will still be finding you and everything, and your collector might be out there looking for that piece still.
Right.
So yeah, I would just keep working on new things. Don't necessarily mint it. And then like if it's been there for a while and you feel like maybe you have some newer pieces that are better, then maybe consider burning that piece and burning it and minting your newer, better work. But yeah, I definitely think like there's a lot of mind games,
Right.
There's a lot of overthinking involved. So
yeah, and you're not doing too much on the gamification aspect. You're not doing anything like, oh, you'll get this airdrop if you do this, and then I'm gonna gamify that, and you can take 2 of my pieces and burn them and turn them into lily pads. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Because it's not a game, it's art.
Right.
It's like I view this as just as legitimate as traditional art, and I think that's what the Pellis gallery is all about too, is like it's a traditional art gallery. This is their first NFT show. And so like a lot of the collectors who have bought my pieces are traditional art collectors. So yeah, there's no gimmicks. There's no games. It's literally just the art.
The gamification can be part of the art, which I
it
understand.
can be. Yeah,
right?
like Pac, like he definitely like makes that part of his art, and it works really well for him.
Yeah.
So like that's his thing, and that's totally fine. That's cool.
For you, the gimmick, so to speak, and I don't. That sounds like a negative phrase. It's not really a gimmick.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bonus or a, I don't know. It's just a bonus or a perk. Would be like maybe you get that physical piece, like something that Scott made or something that has value when it comes to yours. Yeah.
I think that the physical does have some value, but like honestly, a lot of these like one-of-one collectors only care about the token.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I still offer them the print, but like I don't really like advertise it as much anymore. I don't know if you've noticed, but like Cosmo, like he didn't even want one. Like he just wanted the tokens. Like that's because he like genuinely believes that that's where the value is.
Right.
And I mean, like, if I took down my displate shop and I stopped selling displates, then the physicals would go up in value, right? Because then there's real scarcity. Right. But I think, like, as long as anybody can go on displate and order a print, like, the value is going to be the same. I mean, I could, like, maybe in a couple of years, I will take down my displate,
Yeah.
It's
or
not
specific ones.
Yeah, like, it might not be there forever. And I think, like, that's going to be the idea if Scott and I keep working on this. It's like
by the way, my brother has worked in several toy companies, and I just texted him about where you would need to go if you wanted to create some toy productions.
Dude, roll this out at Walmart, dude. Come
right?
on.
Yeah, well, that's the thing though. I wouldn't do that. It would be a limited drop.
Yeah.
So like it would be more like the Cause model. Cause, the artist who he's known for. So it would just be like, I'm making 100 of these, and then that's it, know? And then maybe like next year I'll do another 100, and it'll be like a slightly different style with like a different skin on it. But like, I think that's kind of what makes it valuable too, is the scarcity.
Yeah.
What about a short or a series based on all of this?
Yes. I've been very curious about when your short film is coming out for all this, because it seems like the adventures of Lily and Tank.
It does.
So it's one of those things that I really want to do, and I have a feeling it's going to get put off for a while because of the NFTs. So I like last year my whole thing was like, all right, next year I'm going to do the short film, but then like the NFTs just keep getting crazier, and now I have to do drops for Nifty Gateway and this gallery and that gallery. So whenever that slows down,
what if someone came to you and said, we'd like to license it to do a series? Is that something you'd be like, nope, not at all? Or
I would have to like be heavily like involved in it. Like I could license a studio to do the actual animation, but like I would still be creative directing it. I would want to make sure that it's the story I want to tell, and Lily's being portrayed the way that I think she should be portrayed.
For sure.
Yeah.
I meant to ask you earlier. Do you use Redshift or Octane for those?
Now I'm in Octane. Yeah, so
Okay.
all of the Lily stuff is Octane. Yeah,
I knew you moved over to Redshift when you were
at ABC.
At ABC.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you went back.
Yeah,
I
wasn't
did.
sure. Yeah,
It's just like that last 5% of like global illumination just looks better in Octane.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's one of those things where you can't quite put your finger on it. You're just like, this just looks a little bit more real in Octane. But yeah.
The strings that you did on the guitar, how did you go about doing that? Like getting it just right and the motion blur and all that?
Yeah, so that was tough because actually I'll talk about that later. But so the strings, I basically just did a loop cut where Lily puts her, her paw or her claw, around the string. So that's it's just like a tube with a loop cut where Lily pulls it, and then I believe it was just like a fall off a displacer with like a circular fall off. So that's the displacer is just pushing it in the X direction a certain amount, and then the fall off controls that it's like only happening at the point where she pulls the string. Does that make sense? And then I think I'm just like I'm just keyframing the strength of the fall off back and forth really quickly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool.
It's hard to envision with, through audio description, but I think I'm getting it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just a displacer. It's just a displacer with a fall off. So it's only Yep, that's what it is. And so but the motion blur is tricky in Octane because I ran into this with Tread, the wheel robot, when I was doing that piece where he's going through the canyon, like getting the right RPM of the wheel where like the motion blur looked good was difficult.
Yeah.
Cause like I would spin it too fast and then like the wheel would start vibrating. And like I know that the axis was like in the exact center of the wheel.
Oh,
but it was just like the wheel was still like vibrating and the motion blur was just like looking very strange. So like I had to slow down Tread so that it might even be like slower than like what would be physically accurate, but the motion blur looks good so you can't tell.
Yeah, I've done that on occasion too. It's the same thing. It's like, well, this is really how fast it's supposed to go, but the motion blur is going to look weird,
janky. Yeah.
A couple other questions in the chat. One earlier was about the audio. How do you do the audio for these?
So I use Logic X on my MacBook on my laptop. So it's all like MIDI. I have a MIDI keyboard that I record little melodies and things with. I have some sound libraries, like the Motion Pulse library from Video Copilot comes in handy a lot, especially for those like robot sounds. And then, I sometimes record sounds with my iPhone. Like I'll just like go out in my backyard and like record the sound of like a pumpkin rolling on wood, and that will be like the tread for Tank when he's like rolling on the deck of like his house. So yeah, I'll just like record stuff myself and get from sound libraries, and then I write the music myself in Logic, and yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't remember if you had somebody doing that. A lot of people will do that, right? They'll make an NFT and collaborate with somebody else.
Yeah, like I just love doing it myself. Like I have so much fun. It's like it's such a great break too from doing 3D because otherwise I'm just in that box of only being a 3D artist.
Yeah.
So this is like my playground of like now I get to like be creative doing something totally different.
Yeah.
So
there's something real fun about that, and then like even when you're doing like panning and stuff to your own work, making it sound like something's moving across, and it's just satisfying because it's your thing that you made,
Yeah, and the sound elevates a piece so much too. Like you could be staring at it for hours and then hate your own work because you've just been staring at it, but then the second you add a sound effect to it, it's like brand new again. You're like, oh, this is cool. I like this now.
Yeah, and there's stuff you put in, and it's the same thing visually, I guess, that people will never notice. Right, like even like if you look at the Mograph promos for wintertime, man, it's so layered. Like the sounds are so layered. Everything I put into it, nobody's gonna hear that when it's on Instagram or when they're watching it on Instagram stories with the sound off. But
right, that's the thing.
so
Is like
fun.
half the people don't even turn on the sound, but like
Yeah.
for the people that do, it's like so much better.
Yeah. Another question in the chat was about, I've lost it here. It was about, man, where is it? I completely lost it now. Any advice on how to create a popular CG character like Lily or Lucas the Spider?
Make it cute and adorable, and everybody will love it.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
As far as like learning how to make
Oh,
that,
yeah.
I don't
Okay.
know. Yeah.
You know, I've honestly, dude, like, I design EJ's tutorials. Like, I've watched so many of his tutorials, and it's helped me so much with rigging and character animation. And like, he's really good at doing the cute characters. So I would go watch EJ's videos if you want to learn cute characters.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, were there any other questions in there? I don't think. Yeah, I don't see anything else. Matt, any more questions?
I'm just waiting for the Lily short film. I want it.
Right.
Yeah, you could like create that short film and then sell it as an NFT. You know?
Yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look who's here.
And then, oh boy.
Hello, then. I just dropped by to
Hey.
talk about a little crypto, isn't it?
Yeah.
Crypto and stonks are down right now, that's for true. But don't worry, I'm sure they're about to pig up.
Pig up?
Pig up. Okay.
I've never heard that term before.
They're going to pig up
instead
a
of,
little.
Instead of pick up.
Oh, pick
up.
up.
I get
Gotcha.
If you've made a pig's ear of your financials, don't have a strop. Hang in there, ride it out. One thing's for certain, crypto is never boring.
Bore.
Boring.
Yeah.
By the way, Paul's NFT is brilliant. Brilliant. You know what they call Nifty across the pond?
What?
Nifty Royale.
Oh,
All right, cheerio.
wow. Okay.
Always as good as you hoped, isn't it?
Well, that was a thing.
Yeah. It's
That
fun.
just happened.
It's fun,
That
isn't
just happened.
it? You never
Oh,
know.
man.
You never know what puppets are going to show up.
Right.
Yeah. Dorpy is on a break.
Rev. Oh, no.
Dorpy's not here this week because, he's working on his 10,000 piece collection one by one.
Oh, right.
One a
The
day.
dead dogs.
Yeah,
right.
dead dogs. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Anything else we want to cover in the NFT space before we head out? I think we hit everything, right?
I think we hit everything.
Let me double check. Do I have crypto links? No. We already talked about Clinton Jones and all of that. No, anything else before we wrap up?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
If you or anyone you know is doing a drop, feel free to email us info@mograph.com and we'll politely shill it on the show.
Heck yeah, we will. Cool. Well, let's get back to the regular show.
Let's do it.
Drop.
Is this the fucking mic? This is exactly what I should be doing.